Okay, so good afternoon, guys. What's up? And welcome to my lecture 4 of our business communication class. So previously we talked about from the lecture 3, the writing process. And then when the writing process is already uh, known, or you have that already in your mind, we can move on already to our next topic, which is the lecture 4, the business letter itself, how to write the business letter, and what are the parts of the business letter. So let me share my screen. Okay, when we talk about business letter, the primary thing that you should remember is this letter is very formal, and there are don't do's and don'ts that we need to follow when we write the business letter. And what are the purpose of this business letter? Why is it important? So let's take a look at the definition of the business letter. So a letter that is written in formal language, meaning you have to be straightforward in here. You do not want to use colloquial language or terms here. No? So you will address everything as if it's formal. So use the terms like sir, ma'am. Kindly use the words that are polite. No? So you say thank you very much. So you do not say thanks only. No? So used when writing from one business organization to another. That's why it's called business letter, because it talks about the communication between one business or one company to one another, or corresponds uh, for correspondence between such organizations and their customers, clients, and other external parties. So what are the purpose of these business letters? It is used for, number one, is placing orders if you wanted to buy something in a certain company. If you're making uh, inquiries or questions like, can I have the quotation of the numbers of computers and the prices? What are the latest models that you have? So those are just making inquiries. No? So just asking for quotations is also one way of writing the business letters. Making credit requests, requesting claims and adjustments. Also, apology letter or letter of apology for the things that you have done wrong, or to simply convey a goodwill message. Even today, they are very useful because it produces a permanent record. They are confidential, formal, and deliveries persuasive, well considered messages. Today's time, we have emails already, the electronic mails or letters that or the mails that will be sent to medium, which is the emails. So sometimes there are no deliveries already, like couriers, but in other countries nga wala pa naka-develop isang established isang internet connection nga nami stable. Though we are trying to reach the paperless mode already, but there are some nga get choose yapon to send letters in like couriers like LBC, JNT, JRS. But in today's time, the new norm already is to send it via attachment or writing that directly to the email. What's the purpose of that? That is for recording your, for example, the claims, no, or the inquiries that you have sent something to them. Ay, last year naka-ask ka na di question, na mo man gyapon imo question. No? So that's one way to track, no, if they are willing to do business with you. Style of letter depends on the relationship between the parties concerned. Now let's go to the parts of the business letter. So the primary thing that you can see in a letter, plain black paper or blank paper, is the letterhead or the sender's address. If the company is very big and very popular, usually they have logos and they have already trademarks. For example, hotel. No? The hotel, for example, the L. Fisher, when they're sending a letter to their clients, usually they have the logo in the upper left corner of their paper when sent in the email. Then after that, what you can see after the logo is the symbol or the names and the address or the zip codes, telephone numbers, fax numbers, and the email addresses, websites of the hotel, for example. And it is usually printed at the upper left side of the paper. So take note, you can see in the sender address or the letterhead is the name of the company, the email, the address of the company. After the senders or the address, we have this date. And take note, when you write the date, since this business letter is very formal, you do not want to write that in a abbreviation, just like 7 to 12 as a date. You cannot simply do that. Just simply write the full name of the month, then the date of the month and the year. So you can either use the British method or the American method. For the British method, that's ordinal numbers, the 4th of July 2012, for example. Or in American method, we use the cardinal numbers, like July 4, 2012. So those are only the two styles that is very common and used in writing a business letter. So again, take note, do not abbreviate or use the abbreviation like numbers only. So use the name of the month properly. That's for the date. After the date is the inside address. Is the receiver's address. Includes the name and the address of the firm or the individual to whom the letter is written. When written on the left side, use courtesy titles before the names receivers such as Mr., Mrs. Do not forget those names or titles because those titles are very important. Some people are very angry when you neglect those titles. For example, the doctor, you just simply write the name, the full name, without including the title of the person. So please use the job title or the accomplishment of the person. Then below that, the address or the job title or the department where the person belongs to. For example, the sales manager, the accountant department, for example, in L. Fisher, Bacolod, for example. So that's inside address. Then the subject and the receiver's reference number. Sometimes we do not include this anymore. We only include the re or the reference number or the references, or sometimes it's called regarding to or in relation to. We use only re when we reply to the letter that was sent to you. For example, uh, they have sent an invitation or a gift check and you wanted to change the dates. No? So you have to reply with a re. This is with regards to the invitation that you have sent. Reference number MBF 5225 dated October 5th, 2005. So in that way, they can easily track the letter that they have sent because you have this so-called reference or the subject. But usually, sometimes in business letters, they tend to forget this or neglect this one. It's okay, but in large companies, they have to include this one for the quick response or quick action to your letter. So the receiver's reference example, the receiver's previous letter number is mentioned under the heading reference. So that's the purpose of the subject or read. Then we have the salutation. Take note, when you do the salutation, you must search the name of the person, the full name or the last name or the gender of the person, because we we sometimes put the wrong gender title to the names of the person, no? For example, Dr. Zamora, you use dear Mrs. Zamora, Mr. Zamora, when in fact the Zamora that you're talking about is a female, no? So you put Mr. So you have neglected the gender or know the person's gender first, or that you need to put, no? For example, that is your duty as the sender, because some people are well, again, they're uh, not quite fun in mistakes. So you have to double check and research first the person that you are sending, the gender, for example, and the title, of course. So, for example, we have here, dear sir. Sometimes it's not valid anymore, because if you do that, uh, you are neglecting the name of the person. You just simply write dear sir. So, push your responsibility in there, or checking the name of the person. But if you don't have the resources to get the name of the person, well, that will be considered as okay. Dear mom. Sometimes you put Mr. slash Mrs. So that's a big no-no, because uh, you're not quite sure of the gender of the person. So please be sure to write what to write in the title or the gender of the person. Dual identity na sa karon, no? Or bi na sa karon, Mr. and Mrs. ang ngalan niya. This is okay, dear Mr. John, because John is the name of male, no? So you use Mr. Dear Nancy is not acceptable, because that is quite offensive when you do the business letter. You can either use dear Ma'am Nancy or dear Mrs. Nancy. And usually, we use the last name. But I guess this is in US standards, so they use the first name basis. But for us, we follow the last name basis. Depends on the location and the country that you are writing to, or the nationality. Dear sales manager, you have to check the name of the sales manager. Still, dear customer, if you are referring to the general. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I think it's not acceptable also. And respected sir, and please write the name of the sir of this respected sir. So that's how you write salutation. Those are just simple tips to make your salutation more better and more acceptable. Body. For the body, we begin with two spaces below the salutation and contains the message or the information to be communicated. We divide usually the body into three parts. The introductory part, middle paragraph and the closing paragraph. Again, in the body, you have to state straight to the point what do you need to do. The simple introduction will do. The middle paragraph is the main business that you're going to transact with, and the closing is the the, the things that you wanted to emphasize or remember when you do the business letters. Okay, complementary close. We have, for example, sincerely yours, faithfully yours. When you use the informal, that's for the friendship letters only. The letters that you use in your families and friends. Since we are dealing with business letters, we use formal. So we use respectfully yours, sincerely yours, or yours truly. So those are formal complementary clause that we use. This is the things ginagamit for business letters. But in informal letters, you have to use lang sa mga informal words like with with regards, with warm hugs, best wishes, for example. Depends on the tone and degree of formality again. So that's a polite way of saying goodbye. And then don't forget to write your signature with the name of the sender, the name of the person who wrote the letter. Then when you do the email, usually we have this electronic signature. So uh, that's usually done in Microsoft Word and other applications already that you have to sign already in electronic. So you just have to copy paste your signature and put that in the email since that's the trend today. Enclosures. This is the second to the last thing that you have to bear in mind when you write a letter. Enclosures are used when you have attachments in the letter. Let's say uh, you have the price list of your product, so you have to enclose that. Meaning you have to write enclosure after the signature or the name of your name. No? So put enclosure, then number of pages in the enclosures. No? Enclosures 3, meaning there are 3 attachments included in your letter. So that will make 4 pages already in the letter. So kung wala lang man, you just simply skip that and do not include the word enclosure. So you can either use or write the ENC dot or the ENCL dot or enclosure word itself. Then the CC or the copy notation, this is used when you have to give a certain copy to another person, or we use the BCC or the blind carbon copy when you wanted to receive the person uh, nga wala mo inform ang sendan mo dito. Because the purpose of that is to have a receipt that you have sent a letter to that person without knowing that you have BCC the person nga imo ginasaligan or your friend, for example. That's the purpose of the BCC. Take note, the receiver of the main letter will not notify if you use the BCC to your friend, because the BCC protects the identity of your friend that she or he receives your email or your mail or your letter. So if you want to see the senders, if you want to notify the sender that you have CC your friend, just simply write CC lang. But if you don't want to the sender to or the receiver to see the person that you have sent to, use the BCC. So kung gusto mo ipabalo na may sendan ka sa other persons, just use the CC. So in here, the sender used the CC with the names of Jim Blue and Jennifer Lewis. So hindi na sila pag-sendan sang main nga ano, but they have the copy of the they can also receive a copy of the letter. Similar to the main receiver. So that's the purpose of CC. Okay, we have the layout of the business letters. We have the block, the indented, and the semi-block. We have discussed this already in our purposive communication. So I think this is some sort of review already. For the block, of course, all line starts with the left margin without any indentation at all. So from the start with the letterhead or the address going to the enclosure or the CC, that must start with the left margin. Everything will start at the left margin. There is no indentation. But when we talk about indentation or the indented layout or the font or the style, we use the 1.5 centimeter at the right to the left margin. Also, we only use the indented style in the salutation and the letter address and the date and the complimentary close and the rest of the signature and the enclosure in the CC. So take note, it must be aligned with the sender's address going to the complimentary close. For the modified block, we only change the indented style into full block in terms of the body. So that's the only difference in modified block, indentation of the body. The rest, when we talk about block style, it's all about the left, starting from the left. So these three styles are acceptable in business writing or in business letters. Okay, so that ends our business letter lecture. So I hope you learned something today. And check the LMS for the activity for the seatwork number 4. I will be posting there after this, so you can access already the LMS activity seatwork. So thank you guys, and this is the last topic for our prelim. And for the midterm, we will be doing a lot of letters and our resumes already. So thank you for listening. God bless, guys.